All right. Hey, guys. Welcome to the Big Blue United podcast. My name is TJ. I'm here with Dan. Colin is off tonight. It's his wife's birthday. Happy birthday, Steph.
Yeah,
Not
that's
that
a
I
weird
assume
priority.
Yeah. I mean, would you rather hang out with your friends and talk about the Giants or spend time with your wife on her birthday?
Yeah. I mean, this is like Sanity, right? What was the
Yeah.
I heard a couple of versions of that for Tommy DeVito, but yeah, this is the peak content creation period for us losers that talk about the Giants with nothing else to talk about.
What have you heard nicknames for Tommy?
Tommy
With
Cutlets.
No, like what do you mean, like Sanity?
I heard some version of it, like with the taking his name,
Cutlet
and
Insanity.
Sanity or something. Yeah,
sure. Yeah. Tom Sanity.
Yeah, Guido Sanity. I don't know.
Guido Sanity.
Something really stupid. But yeah, Colin's missing out. I think he can't stomach it because, the savior of New York football isn't an Irishman. It's a Paisan.
Yeah, that's really
Paisanity? Paisan Sanity? Pasta Sanity?
I like it either way. As usual, guys, please follow Big Blue United on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can follow us on, I said Twitter again. You can follow us on X, Twitter, the cesspool, at BB Possibilities with a Z. Dan, did you happen to catch the Elon Musk, Alex Jones, Vivek Ramsway, Twitter Spaces the other day?
Oh, no, I thought you were talking about like that interview he did like last week with an actual journalist that went insane. But no, that sounds like a hellscape. Really?
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Andrew Tate was also on it.
And oh my,
excuse
God.
me.
So they were having a real conversation with that man.
Apparently, they were having a all conversation together. I can only imagine what they were talking about.
Oh my God, dude!
Probably nothing. It's probably just people yelling over each other. But yeah, Elon Musk is great. I'm so happy that I owned Twitter stock when he bought it, and I don't own it now because it would just be the worst stock of all time to be worth a penny right now.
Yeah, and you'd be supporting like the biggest cesspool on the internet.
Yeah, that's why I only buy Lockheed Martin stock.
All right, because you're an ethical investor.
Exactly that. Yeah. Let's hop into the Giants beat the Packers last night. It was fun. I know that we were, and especially on this podcast, we're very pro tanking to get a draft pick. We really want to move on from Daniel Jones. But I have to say, another thing we always used to stress on this pod is that we wanted to watch fun football, and that's really what we wanted. And you know what? Despite the fact that we lost draft position last night, it was a fun game to watch. The whole Tommy DeVito thing is fun. It feels good to root for the Giants again. It feels like there's something happening that couldn't happen with wide-eyed Daniel Jones as your quarterback.
Relax your eyes.
El Jefe is the best. If anyone's seen that video where El Jefe pretends to be a reporter, he's asking Daniel Jones questions. The first thing he says, "It's okay, you can relax your eyes." It's so funny. Make me laugh.
Jefe's gotten better and better, which is awesome to see. Like he 2 years ago he came out and it was pretty good, and he's just gotten better. So props to him, man.
Yeah, check them out. New York Revival podcast, I believe they're doing.
Yeah, check them out. Dude, you're exactly right. We have been, finding some vindication these days with the performance of a random guy in the street being the quarterback of the Giants, doing better than Daniel Jones, which has been great. But at the same time, fighting with the desire to land one of these top prospects in the draft, which would set us up for a future of more fun times, ostensibly. So I've been feeling very conflicted. Plus, I have all this like Italian stuff going on, which I should on one hand like, but I also hate because it's so corny and cheesy and a cash grab. So like I have a lot of emotions. So what I actually made a list of like the good and the bad, like a pros and cons list. And I thought maybe that would be like a good way to talk about this because
I'd love to.
There's so much going on and I just can't get it sorted.
Are you talking about like the high five?
Dude.
That made me, I was just like, this is too much. Just like too much.
Everybody doing it like Like this is like it happens, like it's a thing, like it's a real thing that people do or did, but it's not like, people think, oh, I can go like this, like I'm a real Italian now. It's
Hey,
so
there's an
stupid.
emoji for that, so it must be popular.
I feel like that's been around for a while though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
It's a I don't know what this means either. I'm not Italian at all.
Yeah.
I just always, associate that with, guys who look like Tommy DeVito's agent. It's like a,
It's just a point
presumably
of
a
emphasis.
Chicago gangster from the 1950s who went into a time machine to represent Tommy DeVito and came to the game last night.
Dude's from Boston, so no affiliation. He doesn't count. Anyway, okay. So I think maybe let's try to look at this through the lens of a pro and con, and this is how I'm sorting my emotions. So obviously, maybe we don't spend too much time on this one right away. We'll circle back, but the obvious con is losing our draft position due to the success. But you alluded to it as well. We want to have fun, and this could be one of the most fun things that happened to the team, in my opinion, since Odell Beckham, made that catch.
I agree.
But the more substantive pro of this that I think would be interesting to talk about, like this is I view as like 1A and 1B. 1A is the coaching job Brian Daboll did and not losing his team through all of this, with all the muckraking, all the stuff, the division that was being stirred between him and Wink, just being horrendously bad for the entirety of the first 3 quarters of the season. That the fact that the team is still playing together and they seem to like each other and they seem to like playing with each other, just speaks volumes about him as a coach, the way he's kept this team together, and also provides me comfort that he is not going to be in the hot seat at all for the foreseeable future, no matter what happens this season or even the next season, for his ability to keep this team together. And I always thought that was the most important thing, was keeping Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll comfortable within this franchise. So that is a pro of all that's happening with these wins, despite losing the draft position. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more, and I think DeVito also has something to do with it. It's not just Daboll. I think DeVito has.
Right. Yeah, we'll get to it.
He's got the swag. The guys are behind him, but yeah, I 100% agree with you. It would be so easy to have lost the locker room throughout the course of this year, and I think a couple wins are definitely going to help you. But even if they lost out, I think that what Daboll and Shane are doing and the culture they brought in can supersede kind of having this bad season, whether or not last year was an aberration or not. They still want a playoff game. Obviously, Daboll said it the best. Things are better when you're winning. It's like owning a business. When you're making money, everybody's happy. When you're not making money, everybody's miserable. So, it's just business basically. But yeah, another thing that I think that you brought up yesterday about the coaching that is interesting to me is that Daniel Jones probably made Daboll look like a worse coach than he actually is. Because once you have, all of a sudden you have a guy who has confidence and, maybe a little bit better of an IQ than Daniel Jones, you start to see that what they can scheme up gets people open, and you don't necessarily need to have, Joe Burrow behind center. You made a good point. Look at what Brock Purdy's doing with Shanahan. And I made an argument too that I think Mike McDaniel is better at scheming dudes open than Tua is at quarterback. So I think, if you really look at draft position wise anyway, maybe the Giants don't need number 1 or number 2 quarterback. Maybe Daboll can scheme an offense and Kafka can scheme an offense where, as long as we have a solid protection and solid skill position players, that, we can have success with a guy who might not be a complete stud at quarterback, which, frankly, they're doing right now with not a great supporting cast.
Yeah, no, that was my 1B of the pro. Was this has clarified, I think, what we've been noticing when we read people far smarter than us on Giants Twitter or whatever is they're saying
not on Giants Twitter. No one's smarter.
There's some. There's like 3.
There's like 3. Momo in Mom's basement. He's my favorite.
I'm talking about the tape crunchers, TJ. I'm talking about the guys that watch the like real
guys.
Yeah. They've been saying all season long is like the guys are open. Like our wide receivers are getting separation. They're available. They've been highlighting, guys basically standing there wide open and just not getting the ball thrown to them. And then now we're seeing with like you said, someone with a little bit of confidence or willing to push the ball or throw, beyond the numbers or whatever it might be, chunk plays, touchdowns, scoring in the first half, even in the first quarter sometimes, which just, again, shows everyone that the coaching isn't the issue, I don't think, or at least the scheming and playing isn't the issue, which gives me confidence again moving forward and relieves some of that pressure of getting one of those top two guys. Like you said, maybe in this draft, we can, not even a Jaden Daniels type. Maybe there's someone that you look for, and it's the flavor of the day, like the Brock Purdy mold, but someone that is highly intelligent, accurate, and maybe he's got some wheels would be nice. I've got a list we can go through later of sort of like these tier 3 quarterbacks and get some impressions on, but the ability of this offense to function over someone like Tommy DeVito, which was a hilarious tweet. I think it was like Jeremy Schatz or something, or one of those like analytics guy was like, this Tommy DeVito story would be a lot better if Tommy DeVito was good. Because he's credit where credit's due. We could talk about him a bit. He's playing, I think, exceptionally well for our expectations. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. He's getting better every week. But our comparison point is Daniel Jones, which is point 3 on my list, is the vindication that we're experiencing right now with Daniel Jones looking worse and worse, with conversely to every time Tommy DeVito looks better and better. The man is paid $160 million over 4 years. Tommy DeVito was playing at like the high school down the street last week for me,
Don Bosco, baby.
Essentially.
What a name. Love that.
Don Bosco prep. Yeah, so the genius of Dable Kafka, ability to put in someone like Tommy DeVito, just has to give us as a fan base confidence moving forward that if we get some sense of professional play at the quarterback position, we should be in good shape and could build a really quality team that can compete always. If we're competing now, albeit the NFC is pretty bad, with some skilled position player there, we're going to have a fun time no matter what. And hopefully get some guy that's like got a brain in their head.
Yeah. And I mean, the Giants turned the ball over twice too, which I think, if you're a team like the Giants with an undrafted rookie quarterback and you're not good, basically, and then you turn the ball over twice, there's no reason they should have won that game. Just the fact that they played so well, and DeVito didn't get sacked one time, which he's been getting mauled the last few games. Yeah. So, and I didn't even think the offensive line had particularly had a good game. DeVito just, has pocket presence, and he, is developing that. Like you said,
the ladder in the pocket.
Yeah. He's getting better every game. Yeah. And, this, I think he, this is the most rushing yards he ever had in his career in a game. Albeit, that's like 4 games, but still, I mean, 70 yards is fine down the ground. I know his yardage for the air wasn't impressive, but it was more so the moments that he did those things in. And, the guys around him pumped him up too. Wan'Dale had, the best game of his career, I thought, making that sick catch, the 30-yard catch at the end of the game. Bailout was probably a bad throw. I know Jalen Hyatt was a little quiet, but Hodgins, man, what about that throw at the end of the game?
That the corner end zone throw when he was rolling out, that was
Daniel Jones.
I haven't seen anyone. No, dude. No. Daniel Jones would have thrown it out of the back of the end zone because he didn't want to throw an interception or taken a sack, most likely. I don't think he would ever got to that read.
Yeah. I mean, Tommy DeVito's not the answer for the Giants, but Daniel Jones definitely isn't. And like you said, vindication. I felt vindication for a couple weeks now because I've already seen that we knew Daniel Jones was bad for 4
but it's not,
years. It's like
it's the rest of the world is joining us.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly. Yes,
Shannon Sharp and whoever, Jeff Saturday and everyone is finally, Daniel Jones can't hide anymore under blaming the surrounding pieces.
It's all the same players.
And even if the argument's got to stop, like, well, the team's a lot better than it was at the beginning of the season. It's like, fine. But do you really think Daniel Jones would be playing considerably better than Tommy DeVito is now?
No.
I don't think there's a gap justifying a contract that he has for for the way he'd be playing with his team right now, unless he's
even
playing at like an elite level, which he wouldn't be.
Yeah, don't even see the gap between him and DeVito. Could Daniel Jones play up to the money he's being paid? There's no chance.
No.
And Dan, I'll ask you, what do you think next year? Is there a legit QB competition, or is because you're paying Jones $40 million that he is going to be the starter again?
There has to be.
I think
there has
it's
to
weird.
be a QB competition.
Yeah, there has to be, right? Yeah,
because the offense was anemic under Daniel Jones, and if he's able to shake it and learn from Tommy DeVito and play more like Tommy DeVito, maybe there's a competition, dude. He just wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing. There's nothing else to say. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's pretty clear, which leads me to my next point. Like, this has been the other hilarious. This is objectively hilarious. A more perfect storm for our fan base couldn't happen. Yep. Tommy DeVito's winning over the locker room. His family's winning over the parking lot. It's fun to see.
No, I think you sent the tweet yesterday to me. It's just like you couldn't remanufacture or pay to get this amount of like, notoriety for being, an undrafted rookie. It's just a good story. People just like the local kid story. He's winning games, and
he's a legend for the rest of his life.
He's got a personality. I mean, exactly.
That what? Yeah, it's not even
comeback drive in the fourth quarter. Come on,
but it's also again underlines the lack of personality of Daniel Jones, man.
Yeah,
like Tommy DeVito probably has. To be honest, I don't think he has like an exceptional personality. I think he just got a New Jersey accent, and people lean into him being Italian. And that juxtaposed to like the NPC, is that what they call it? Non-playable character that Daniel Jones is.
Yeah.
It's just like, football can be fun. We don't have to watch a guy be like, I got to play better every week. Like having a quarterback with a tiny bit of swag, whatever it might be. It might be 6 foot tall Italian American swag, like Anthony Richardson, like 7 foot tall, like monster swag. Like it doesn't matter. Just have some like style. Have some like ability to
make it fun.
People
play better when they're having fun. Losing and being miserable, you don't go out there and give your all. I mean, I'm not a football player, but I'm a human being, so I could imagine being in a similar circumstance. And it's just fun. I'm just having a great time being a Giants fan again for once. And
you see them embrace at the end of the game, Tommy and Dable.
Sure did.
That was great to see.
I'd like to see. Yeah, Dable has looked like a miserable shit for week after week. And it makes me sad because last year, when he was doing his pressers and all that, he was always such a jubilant guy and trying to be nice. And his attitude has changed a bit.
Because everyone's talking shit on him all year. And he's like, Daniel Jones, man, it's not me.
But he can't come out and say, actually, guys, Daniel Jones sucks. And I don't know why we paid him. Maybe we should have re-signed Saquon. Yeah. Not that they should have, but he's been,
Saquon tried to lose it for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the offensive line we have, it's good to have a elite running back. I'm not saying that you need one, but it's been helpful for this team. It's been helpful for DeVito. He's been having a couple good weeks, which is, I'm sure happy for the fantasy owners out there. I'm not one of them, but I would have had him on my bench most of the season.
For sure.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. We don't talk about fantasy.
unless we can get rid of the remaining 3 listeners we have to this pod. I think the other huge winner unrelated to Tommy DeVito and the offense doing stuff, we wouldn't win any of these games straight up if the defense wasn't crushing right now.
Yep.
And maybe the metrics or the stats don't bear it out specifically, but the number of turnovers we're causing just makes it super hard for any team to beat us when we're getting that many turnovers. We're getting pressure on the quarterback, and that's Wink Martindale, and that's Dable's next conquest, right? He got the team to stay bought in, and now he's got to keep Wink in house. I think there's I don't think it was as bad as people say, but I still think there's probably some sort of divide between the two of them or animosity. It's probably not the smoothest relationship at this point, but if they're able to bridge that gap, I think it'd be awesome for the team to have that stability in the defensive coordinator position, albeit he gets hired somewhere else. for a head coaching job, but I think they can do something special next year with an improved talent and having him, continue to develop these players. A lot of the guys are playing really well on the defense under his tutelage. So would really like to keep him on the team.
Yeah. I mean, he said he doesn't want to be a head coach. I don't know if that's true
Yeah.
or not, but I think, when you're making a business decision, maybe they're not best buddies, but they're producing. And, you're an offensive-minded head coach, and your defense and your coordinator are producing week in and week out. Despite the fact that maybe you ruffling some feathers or what it is, you stick with success if you want to be successful in the football and in whatever else. Like, you don't just get rid of someone because you have a personality, thing with them. And, I just think there's so much upside for Wink, and especially if you look at how well Deontay Banks has been playing, especially, last night, if you want to call it a breakout game or not, with 12 tackles, and, that one pass defense in the end zone was just, amazing play. He's quietly been having a fantastic season. I think he's going to get better and better. I think, it has to do with Wink's tutelage, and especially like in the man coverage and stuff like that. That's Wink's scheme. He's developing Banks to be, a top corner in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I think the people around him, the other players on defense, I think there's a lot of great talent. Dexter Lawrence, I mean, the fact that he's not number one in Pro Bowl voting is absolutely insane. The guy's a monster. He's so
Consistent.
great. I think, just the fact that Shane signed him and Thomas to long-term deals, that's the best move a Giants GM has made in ages.
So
Kayvon Thibodeau is breaking out. Even, not that I think Azeez Ujulari is the answer as a starter. He's definitely a rotational player in the league, but he even had a good game. I mean, there's plenty of guys on the defense that can step up, and there's plenty of spots on the defense where you could improve too. But yeah, they've hit on some draft picks and they've hit on some free agency, and it's been good to watch. And I don't think you go ahead and change that just because out of the blue you're like, I don't like you. Seems like immature. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I understand the concept of when things get as bad as they are, or more likely were, when the team was 2-7 or whatever, things just start to leak and break and people start pointing fingers. It's inevitable, especially when you have such sort of meddlesome personalities in the media that are somehow probably tied to the ownership. Things can get ugly fast. But I think, at least from us on the podcast, we had always thought that Wink was doing a lot with the defense, and it was just impossible to be a statistically successful defense when, if you ever get the ball turned over, you're back on defense within like 3 minutes because the offense can't stay on the field. The amount of opportunities other teams were getting against them was just too much to battle at points. But I like you said, I think to me, they're playing well and people are getting better, which is amazing to see that development. I just look, Deontay Banks led the team in tackles last night. He had 12 tackles.
Yeah. 12 tackles.
In addition to like those like jaw dropping, coverage plays where that's the Giants bandwagon right there.
Yeah. Some chode truck outside.
Jamoke.
Noise.
But like some of those plays he made in coverage were like, oh, you are the real deal. And that's awesome to see. Kayvon gets better and better. And Dexter Lawrence played like 20 snaps and had a sack and like 5 hurries. Like,
he's just unbelievably
he's
good.
The best dude in the world.
Yeah.
And then there's a Tommy Devito, Dexter Lawrence like Snapchat or whatever from the locker room, which was hilarious to see.
Oh man, I think Dexter Lawrence should go to Tommy at the next Hoagie signing he does. I think he did one on Saturday or something like that. I love that he's just doing Hoagie shop signings.
He'll do whatever, man.
Hoagie in Jersey that's like a Pennsylvania
I don't think they.
thing, I thought.
Yeah, that's like maybe Southern Jersey. Maybe he's in South Jersey doing that. Around me, I guess I don't really know what they call them.
Not a wedge. Tell you that.
That's what I call. Yeah, that's what we call them, right?
That's like very Westchester specific.
Is it?
Yeah, wedge. But now that I've lived in the city for a long time, I just say hero.
Hero.
Yeah.
Yeah. Say give me the Aki way. Is that what you say? Or
Chop cheese on a hero.
The Aki way.
I like going to the bodega and getting a sandwich for $18. Love New York City. Anyway.
Yeah, I guess. All right. So those are my pros. And the cons are essentially draft position, sort of uncertainty at the quarterback position moving forward, just unless we draft someone, which we should. And I still think it will be malpractice if we don't. And the stupid representation of Italians across America.
All right. First of all, I love the stupid representation of Italians across America.
This is what me and Mark have been fighting against our whole lives.
Well,
from Somers
now,
to what?
The most Italian town of all time. I was just trying to think about who wasn't Italian. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Section A. Section 1.
Class A.
Class A. Section 1.
Class
state
A.
champs.
Well, Section 1 is our area. Just
okay.
Class A is Class A state champs.
Class A state champs. Yep. Somers, New York.
Yep.
Shows plenty of Italian kids on the team. When I think about draft position now, though, I'm not. When we were losing, and I was like, man, when we lost to the Patriots or when we beat the Patriots, I was unhappy because we were in such a prime spot to get could be like one of the best 1-2 on the top of the draft in quite some time. I've sort of resigned to the fact that the Giants probably aren't going to be in the number 1 or number 2 pick position at this point. It's very unlikely. I mean, anything's possible, but whatever.
Barring a trade up, yeah.
Yeah, and that's my next point. I don't think that we should be in a position to trade multiple firsts to move up in this draft, despite the fact that the Giants maybe do need a quarterback. I think going back to what we had talked about, with this coaching staff, maybe a guy in the 3rd round or 2nd round is a little more likely. And I think that with the dearth of wide receiver talent at the top of this draft, and just such a glaring need for a number 1 wideout, I think that the Giants, might be poised to
wide receiver.
Dearth. I meant the opposite of dearth. Plethora. Excuse me.
Yes.
The plethora of.
I was like, wow, we have way different reads on this draft.
Yeah, my bad. The plethora of wide receivers up top. Malik Neighbors being a guy who I've been watching a lot of highlights on. I feel like when you say you watch film, it means something more. I watched YouTube highlights on him. He looks good. And, also there's a lot of O-line too, where the Giants could be picking. So, if it's not, Mayer or Williams, I think that there's other positions of value where the Giants could potentially be picking, which at this point, maybe 8 to 10. Jaden Daniels is maybe the exception if he does fall. I wouldn't be against picking him in the 1st round, but at this point, I think there's just holes, man. And there's plenty of talent, and there's plenty of, upside to picking best player available and not trading your future away or picking a quarterback, out of position.
Yeah. I get that. But yeah, forcing a quarterback in the 1st round, maybe not, but I do think they need to come out of the draft with one of these top 5-ish, 6-ish quarterbacks, because even if it is a competition with Daniel Jones, you need a good backup. I mean, and Tommy DeVito would be a great backup to have behind a good starter, not a great backup to have behind a starter that gets injured every season and isn't very good to start with, like Daniel Jones. I think it'd be hilarious that Tommy DeVito is just like the resident backup quarterback for the next 10 years. But I think like,
I hope he holds the clipboard for the end of his life.
Yeah. He'd be great at it. And great in the locker room. But I think of those other quarterbacks, I would take Jaden Daniels in the top 10. I think based on his production and skill set, that there is way too much upside to leave that on the table for a team that desperately needs a quarterback like the Giants do. He can throw, he can run. He has showed accuracy and ability to make all the tough throws. I get the sort of knock on him is that his surrounding cast is so excellent at LSU with the wide receivers that he has. But the combination of skill set there, I think, given what Brian Dable and Kafka are doing with Tommy DeVito, it would be awesome to see what they do with someone with true talent like that. Mm-hmm. He's 6'4", 210 pounds. He's slight, but He's shown that he can put on weight. So he's not, like drafting what's his name from the Panthers,
Bryce
Bryce Young, who's 5'9". Like, there's a lot to like in it, and my concern is that he's going to go before we get him if we stay at like pick 8. But beyond that, given again the success of this offense with someone that's mildly competent, I think if the offensive player personnel people and the coaching staff finds a quarterback that they think is a fast processor, is smart, does have the instincts that we need, in one of these guys like JJ McCarthy or Penix or whoever else. I do not want Bo Nix. I don't care what they think of him. He does not have any of the skills I want.
What do you think about Sanders? So I'm curious. We haven't talked about him at all.
I would love that. I don't know if he's coming out. If he comes out, I think
that's true.
I think he is in the mix, arguably for number 3 quarterback. Again, he seems to have everything you want. And I would take him over, anyone other than Jaden Daniels, perhaps. I think that's something that people smarter than me that know what they're talking about would have to figure out. But I just think I'm so tantalized by the idea of having a really talented quarterback in this offense, how fun that would be. So I think they have to take that shot if there's a guy they like. And then we have the other additional draft capital. We have 2 high second-round picks.
Yep.
We can get an offensive lineman and a defensive player. We can get 2 offensive linemen. We can get an offensive lineman in the 2nd and the 4th. Like, there are ways to do this.
We really
get another wide
receiver.
receiver.
Trade.
Yeah, it's working out great, dude.
Yeah.
And they're just losing and losing.
Yep.
So I think we are in a position where outside of quarterback, we are looking. I don't think there's a position of dire need or a position that requires high draft capital to get. It'd be nice to get another cornerback, but I think if we get a second-round cornerback, there are a few in that high end of the second round that would be viable starters. I think another wide receiver, I wouldn't hate in the with one of our second-round picks or third-round pick. But we need a quarterback and we need another offensive lineman that can start as a rookie.
Agreed.
And that should be 2 of the first 3 picks, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's other guys too. I like, I like the guy from Texas, Urs. He's got a great arm, which is nice. And I like the kid from Georgia too. He seems like a smart dude. But I agree that, I'm not saying the Giants shouldn't draft a quarterback, but I think in the first round, it just seems like a stretch. I mean, obviously it's so early and we don't know where we're going to, our draft picks really going to end up, but this is fairly preliminary talking, but obviously we'll see how it goes. Let's talk about Kadarius Toney for a minute. Can we please?
Wait. Before we do that, can I just do shout outs to guys that played really good this week?
Please.
Wandale Robinson.
Great.
Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, Andrew Thomas.
Big fan.
Playing awesome. Love to see it. That's what you need from those people. Okay. Kadarius Toney.
Kadarius Baloney.
Nice.
No. Okay. So I thought this was really funny. I don't really want to talk about Mahomes because I don't care, but no. I just really have been enjoying the clown show that he has been putting on the last few weeks, and it just gives you vindication. You spent a first round pick on him, you got a third back for him, and when we did that trade, Chiefs fans thought they fleeced us, but it's been quite the opposite of that. If it were Kadarius Toney, single-handedly lost 2 games for that team. And I think I sent Dan and Colin a message that I think his whole team hates him because Travis Kelce and him did the coolest play of all time. And Kelce didn't even go up and say what up. So didn't even dap him up. He just walked away.
Yeah.
Who likes this guy?
He's
by the way,
man.
I want to say one more thing is that I forget who was doing it. If it was Orlovsky, maybe was breaking down. He said he watched every snap that Toney went on, and he showed 4 separate snaps where he was a past the line of scrimmage. So they only called it once, and it happened 4 times.
And then I think last night they showed a few shots, or at least one I saw of Jalen Waddle or something on the Dolphins also lined up in the same exact spot. It's something that doesn't get called very often, apparently.
Yeah.
He's insane.
You broke the rules. Yeah, the guy's a clown.
I just realized he never had eyebrows, did he? He doesn't have eyebrows.
I don't know. You don't know because he's always got that hood over his head.
He just looks like a cartoon character or something.
He looks like he looks like a villain or something.
Every
like
time every time I see his face, I'm alarmed. Something is just like striking about him. Just like, oh Jesus. Like it's unsettling.
Yeah, I don't normally take pleasure in the failure or of others, but being that Kadarius Toney said all Giants fans can F themselves, you have 25 catches for 164 yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
You suck at football.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, what's he gonna do with like that New York skyline he got tattooed on his back?
That's probably why he's so salty.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you should have stayed in New York for a year or two before you got that giant tattoo of it. But hey,
tattoo of a city he doesn't live in with a number he doesn't wear.
Yeah. So, well, at least you don't have to look at that failure every day because it's on your back.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway, I just really wanted to talk some trash about Kadarius Toney because
it's fine.
I don't like the guy.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we talk a little Saints next week, or got anything else you want to hit on?
No, I think we hit all the major things. Yeah. It's people still defending Daniel Jones is hilarious now. Like these just pile on, people just like shut up, get the F out of here. We can look to next week, I guess.
Can I tell you something really petty that I've been doing? Since we started the BBU Pod Boys Z Twitter, I have written down every single handle of a person I got into an argument with about they saying Daniel Jones is the franchise quarterback and the quarterback of the future. And as soon as he's not on the team, I'm going to at every single one of them, and I'm going to laugh at you all.
That's awesome. Yes. Yeah, we should.
Yeah. Anyway, Saints, I mean, I think this is a totally winnable game. I don't know if Carr's starting, but I don't think there's a difference between Carr and Winston necessarily.
Yeah.
Other than Winston has a better arm and makes worse decisions. I don't think one's better than the other. I think the Giants, could easily win this game. And I think this is another reason why when I'm talking about the draft position thing, I feel, a little okay with, that we're not going to have the number one or two pick or whatever. But I think this is an easily winnable game. I think the Rams as well is an easily winnable game, except that, they've been playing pretty well. I do think the Giants defense, is better than the defenses that they had been playing the last 2 weeks. I think the next 2 weeks are up in the air 50-50, but definitely winnable. I think it might happen.
I agree. I think based on the past 3 weeks, how well the defense is playing and the seeming competence from Tommy Devito that these games are winnable. I wouldn't say that they're easily winnable.
Yeah.
I think the Saints might be a little bit easier than the Rams right now, just because it seems the team absolutely hates Derek Carr and Jameis Winston is Jameis Winston. But they are a more talented team, certainly.
Sure.
Yeah, and the Rams, again, have been playing good teams really hard. So also I think winnable. I think the Giants sometimes are good matchups against these teams. Like I wouldn't separate the Rams or the Saints far from the Packers as far as talent and ability to win.
Agreed.
So I just think when you have our defense doing what they're doing, Dexter Lawrence is healthy, Kayvon's getting pressure, we're locking down number one wide receivers, and then we have genius offensive schemes that are, keeping the other teams honest, basically, and we're not making turnovers, then we can win games. We have 4 games left. These 2 are winnable, I'd say because thanks to the Cowboys, the Eagles are going to be playing, hard the next 2 weeks for every game they have against us. And those games aren't winnable. No matter what the struggles are.
I'm not sure because the Eagles have not looked good. They lost 2 in a row. I want to see if the Eagles bounce back, because if they have another bad game this week, I might be there's a 25% chance the Giants might be able to beat them. And if they do, that would be a really nice icing on the cake, I think, to what was a bad season. And especially one where you're out of the top pick conversation. I don't see why anyone would be upset about beating the Eagles, especially if we win against either the Saints or the Rams.
It'd be fun. Yeah. I mean, that's could be the funnest thing ever, but just because I hate Nick Sirianni so much. But I think what the Eagles have is monsters on their defensive line, and that's the problem for us. So
Fat Dom versus Tommy DeVito. Italian Italian fest. Let's just cancel the game and see who can eat more sausages.
I think Fat Dom probably can.
Yeah, probably. No.
Yeah, no, I mean, now, we're all in on making this a fun season, riding this hilarious train as far as it can go. It'd be nice.
Absolutely.
To be competitive in these games. Essentially, either way is a win at this point. Like, if we lose, helps our draft. If we win, it's more Tommy DeVito insanity. So, I guess we're in a good spot somehow, even being 5-8.
Because there's a fun thing going on. That's the whole point. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah,
it rarely is. Yeah,
I'll take it.
Yeah.
We play the Eagles on Christmas. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Wow, what a thing! what an insane thing.
I feel bad for the players. Like, they got to all waste their time. They could be spending it with their families.
The team is their family, dude.
Oh,
La Familia, La Cosa Nostra. This is it's our thing.
Thank you for listening tonight, guys. Please follow Big Blue United, Facebook, X, Instagram. You can follow us, BBU Pod Boys of the Z. And we'll see you next week. Go Giants.
Boshk.